This plant is called a calathea plant. When I bought it, I didn't really know anything about it. All I knew was that the shade of green on the leaves is dark and beautiful, and then there's this really nice detailed lining in the leaves. It reminded me almost of like something that came out of a Maurice Sendak children's story. So I bought it, I brought it home, I put it in my bedroom, kind of forgot about it for the day, and it was kind of splayed out like this, nice and open. I go upstairs and I was like, did my plant move? That's creepy. I went to bed, I was like, I must be mistaken. And then I woke up and it was open again, like this. So I was like, that's weird. I looked it up. Turns out that calathea plants have a couple of other names. They either go by peacock plants or they go by prayer plants. The reason they go by that is because they do exactly what I just described, which is when there's sun, they open up so the sun can hit them more directly. But when there's no sun, these little joints allow them to kind of close up for the evening and kind of like almost like go to sleep. I didn't know that though. So I just thought it was a haunted ass plant. Anyway, welcome to If You're in a Place. If you're in a place, you should water your plants. So how about you come hang out with me while I water mine? Let's go. When I was younger, I hated plants. My mom would wake me up Saturday morning super early, and she would make me take her about 20 houseplants to the kitchen so she could soak them in water in the sink. And we would wait 5 to 10 minutes for them to drain, and then I would take them back and bring the next batch. I hated it, and I talked shit to her a lot about how much I hated it for my entire life. So you can imagine she was really surprised when she found out that I was very suddenly super into plants. I was initially overly obsessed with doing plants the right way. I wanted to buy the best soil, the best fertilizer. I wanted to get really good water. I think it was DMX who, rest in peace, taught me that first when he talked about his orchids, that plants don't need all that fancy shit. You just need to take care of them. They just want love. So, this is the first plant I ever bought on my own. I don't really even know what it's called. You can tell that it's like not thriving. And the reason that it's not thriving is because over the winter, some bugs got into it and basically chewed all of the leaves and left maybe 2 or 3. That's not the first time it almost died. The first time it really died was when I first got it because I didn't really know how to take care of plants at all. After about a month of trying to take care of it, it shriveled and I was going to just toss it out, but my mom convinced me to put it outside, put it in the shade a little bit more, give it a little bit less water, and then see what happens. And sure enough, it came back, and then it got chomped up by a bunch of little bugs, but now it's, again, starting to come back. It's a resilient little dude, which I think is really awesome. I also think that we over-romanticize resiliency sometimes. Resiliency can be really beautiful. At the same time, I think if we over-focus on resiliency, we sometimes forget that the real goal is to create better conditions where resiliency isn't as necessary anymore. This plant reminds me that the best thing we can do for our community is work really, really hard to create a better environment, better conditions where people or things can thrive and be their best selves as opposed to just surviving. So I think about that every single time I look at this little plant that's had to be resilient because its owner was ignorant and didn't know what it needed. But now I know better and I'm trying to create better conditions for it. out of all the plants that I have, my favorite is probably this one. I think it's called a coleus. But one of the reasons I love it so much is because it has this really silky texture, and it has this green outlining, but also this really deep purple on the inside of the leaves. And it almost looks black in the right lighting, and black is my favorite color. But the real reason that I love this plant so much is because my mom gave it to me. Like I told y'all earlier, my mom used to annoy me to death making me water her plants at 6 a.m. in the morning instead of letting me watch Saturday cartoons. Now I see it as a way of bonding with her and getting closer with her. It became really clear to me over the last couple of years that the majority of my time with my mom is already gone. And I think it's important to take every opportunity I can to appreciate the ways that we can bond and learn from each other. A few weeks ago, I went to a plant store down the street from my house, and I was looking for a plant to get my mom. My mom, kind of an old school Catholic, and every morning she prays at a little altar that she has in the hallway at her house. And she prays for me and my nieces and my nephews and my brother and my sister and our entire family. And so it was obvious the plant that I had to get her. I had to get her one of these haunted ass prayer plants. And she loved it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me this week. Peace.